All right, welcome back, everyone. This is going to be part two of our big spectacular coverage. I messed up a couple of the introductions and the dates and everything. I don't know how time works. None of us do. But I'm here back with the guys from Spin from the Reel. We got Chris, we got the captain, and he's just the captain this time around. He's wearing his gold.
Gotta
And
represent the track every once in a while.
yeah, we are just gonna have to refer to him as captain from now on. Would you be Captain Kirk or Picard?
Um, this is actually Captain Pike's uniform from Star Trek Discovery, so I'm representing. I'm representing a TV show right now, but this is honestly the coolest Starfleet uniform that has ever been so far. So.
Word. I mean, I'm not going to call you the captain.
No problem. I was just curious.
Yeah.
You called me the captain before, bro.
Have I?
The captain of this Who Are They Real Entertainment ship.
Yeah. The one that hosts our show every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Yeah.
And Sunday on 8 p.m. Eastern, Real Talk.
Yeah. I mean, we got our plugs out.
So you call him the captain.
He does every once in a while.
You call him the captain when it's on his ship.
Yes.
Yes, but we're not on Who Are They today. We're in Canada today. We're in Canada.
Canada, eh?
We are.
You're damn right. Hell yeah, brother.
We're in the frozen tundras because it is. I don't know. I think we hit the minus teens earlier this week, and
you guys are in
we're
Celsius,
due for
right?
quite a bunch more. Yes, so that would be, I believe minus 15 is pretty close to just zero.
Ah.
Oh God.
See, we hit.
So it gets pretty damn cold.
We've just been hovering around 30 this week in Cleveland. So.
Yeah, it's cold. That's cold over there.
So yeah, it's been between 5 and 0 degrees for us up here the last week. I've been having not a lot of fun.
No bueno.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And actually, getting into this match, I'm not gonna have a lot of fun because, as anyone who watches this show knows, as my newly added title points out, I am a huge corruption fan. I've been a fan of Chance Ellison for since he started, almost just the way he plays the game from the knowledge standpoint, and his gameplay is such a high level. He came in as the first person from the other leagues and came in and just hung with the best of them. And I really wanted Chance to win this, and I'm sure most of the league wanted Chance to win this because they don't want Chandru to be champion anymore.
Chris is my witness. He can attest. I was so torn because I do not like Chandru, but I am extremely loyal to Winston.
It's almost to a fault.
Yeah.
I mean, I love corruption, right? Congratulations to the true champions, corruption. My name's normally spelled with a C, but for today, we'll talk about K, Chris, for K, corruption. But Chance Ellison, I've been on I shouldn't say a roller coaster, but I started off not on the Chance Ellison train. And I think I can say that because I was a hater, because he came from the fan leagues. And I'm like, a fan? Like me? Over there? I was mad. I was mad at him. And I wasn't the biggest fan of the character he came with either.
Still not a fan of his character.
I've come around. It took him a while, but I came around. And the second he really started being a heel, really was when he was with corruption. Like when he was with Mike, and Mike really brought out a different version of Chance Ellison. And as that was happening, his gameplay got better. Like Chance was getting scarier and scarier, and he was showing so much potential, and he still does. Like to this day, although he came out on the losing end against Chandru, we still can't sleep on Chance as a competitor overall.
Yes.
And I'm in the camp where, although Chance had he underperformed, I'm not going to say he disappointed, but he wasn't who we thought he was going to be. He wasn't Matt. Matt just looks like he just tastes a lemon.
Mm-mm.
But what I'm saying about Chance, like to me, he just underperformed. And going to the championship matches, if you're facing off in singles, team, Star Wars, we saw that spectacular. You have to almost go perfect or damn close to be in contention for a title. And Chance, the second he went 5 out of 10 first round, it was rough to watch. It was like Ace in the Star Wars match, but in the back half of the match. You know, I was like, damn, Ace. Like this is it's not, it wasn't bad by any means, but I'm like, you know, they know they can do better. We know they can do better. And it just wasn't on their side. And Chance, I was just like that. I was almost like having my eyes closed, like a horror, like I was watching a scary movie, like watching between my fingers, because I didn't like what I was seeing. But at the same time, it's Chance Ellison. My man just came off the title, and he ran into a wall that was Shazam. But he still had a great year. It's not going to twist it.
Yeah, I was a little worried when he missed that first question, which, speaking of, you know who else did very poorly in this match? Myself. And I do pretty well in the IG. I can follow along with a lot of the questions. I'm not super studied on Trek and the.
Don't let the costume fool you. I know Trek shows more than I do.
Through this match in particular, these were some spectacular level questions.
As they should be.
Yeah, no, Chris was pointing. Don't let the costume fool you. I'm more of a Trek show guy than in the newer films than overall films.
No, but Matt, what do you think of Chance Ellison? You're his biggest fan, right? You love Chance.
As I said, I was torn going into this match because I am not a fan of corruption. I am not a fan of.
Ouch.
I am not a fan of Chance. But like I had to like I said, I don't like Chance. I don't like Chandru. Winston was the deciding factor here, and it was just like, well, Winston is a guy who I see a lot of myself in. He's a geek. He's larger, but he's also just got this nice person, just someone you want to have a beer with.
Mm-hmm.
And I just. Mm-hmm. I like that. He's so chill, down to earth, normal, and he's if I was in the league, that's who I'd want to play under, and I guess that's kind of why I gravitate to him a lot. But Chance is just I've never really felt he had a character. He's in the same vein as Collins for me, where there's not much there.
Maybe how he started. Oh. Maybe how he started, but I wouldn't say that.
Correction.
Now.
Adam Collins has one of the best characters in the entire Schmoedown.
He has one of the best gimmicks. I can't say he has one of the best characters.
It's reminiscent. It's reminiscent for me to the Professor, like Lon Harris, and I actually just to name a couple of my very favorite characters. You have the Cobra, you have Adam Collins, you have the Professor. Dan can be very snarky, and the snark is last year's Paul Oyama, and people were not a fan of him the same way they were not a fan of Chance Ellison, and it's just one of those things I really enjoy about characters. And if Chandru wasn't just the most insufferable know-it-all ever, he'd be my favorite character. But he had to go and start doing weird dances and telling Rachel Cushing she doesn't doesn't belong in the inner geekdom, and it's just like, you, sir, need to step off. I was your friend. You were the chosen one. How dare you?
That's the crazy part. He still is the chosen. And Chandru, what Chandru has done in such a short amount of time is mind-boggling. And and as a wrestling fan myself, like I love watching great heels do heelish things, and Chandru personifies that to a T. He's a, for my wrestling fans out there, he's a heat magnet. He could just say hi to you and he will get booed. Like I want to see Chandru in a live event atmosphere in like a city like Chicago or Los Angeles, or they do it in LA.
Yeah,
New York.
Chicago's probably the best area.
I would love to see like for my wrestling fans, like the markier crowds, like the smart, like the crowds that are not afraid to let you know how they feel. And I would love to see change in that environment just because he's a natural heel. And although he was writing the tweeter line throughout the year, come on, man, just embrace it. You're a bad guy. And it must be hard being under Winston. Winston, for a majority of the season, was like babyface manager. Like he was the personification of that, like of what you want out of a babyface manager. And then Coy showed up, and then Winston started acting like Chandru when Chandru would compete. And although it was great to see, I'm like, damn, Winston, I see you with your promos out here being a little heel. I see you, but when he first showed up, he was just like that guy. He was just himself. And Chance, sunglasses, hoodie, Oyama, sunglasses, jacket. I'm like, sunglasses aren't a character. Sunglasses aren't personality. I don't like seeing that, right? And that's how they both started. That's how Chance and Oyama started.
Tell that to Macho Man.
Yeah, but Macho Man had more than just sunglasses. It's
reminiscent of.
I know. I was just trying.
Don't try to get on my skin, brother. Like you need to cool.
You know whose character was sunglasses and sunglasses alone? Dangerous Dan Murrell.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
The GOAT himself.
I don't want to hear any slander about people like Colin. Like, people give Colin so much flack for his lack of character. It's like Dan started off doing the same way. He showed up and say hi and be nice and do trivia and kick ass. And that's what Colin started off as. He showed up, he showed out, he was nice, and he kicked ass. What the hell? What's the difference? And Dan slowly became dangerous, or how on Spin from the Real, how I call him, damn Dan, because he's that good. But Chance, when he started, and people like Oyama and even Chandru to an extent, like Chandru was more extroverted and energetic when he'd show up compared to a guy like Chance. But they both came into their characters and they both exceed at their heelish tendencies. So seeing this matchup, heel versus heel, it was interesting nonetheless until we started playing, and then it got out of hand.
Yeah, and let's get into the little bit. I got a couple of notes here. What is it? The Bowline product line, Magic in a Bottle. I had never even heard of this shit.
Yeah, Catwoman, dude.
Yeah, the Catwoman. Yeah,
Catwoman question.
Because Chris and I were watching together. I'm like, that's the Joker products, right? From Batman. He's like, I think so.
Mm-hmm. But no, it was that Catwoman question again. Like, because people forget as much as and for good reason, we forget about Catwoman. But
yeah, that's
a spectacular first round question. They're not going to give you a Batman '89 question, especially if it's like Ace Chemicals. Like, no, they're not going to give us that. They're going to ask you for the nitty gritty in a Catwoman movie. So when that question threw me off, and there were a couple of other ones. Yeah, like, damn, that's first round.
I leaned Shazam with it because it's called like Bowline, Beauty Line. There's a little bit of that of like growing into the big buff dude, and it was the Magic in a Bottle, which Shazam is a magic superhero, and lightning in a bottle is an idiom. And so the couple of things together, not having a clue, I answered Shazam as always write down a guess, kids.
See, for me, I just went, I'm like, there's only one. There's two DC movies I remember with products in them, and only one of them was actually like beauty products, and that was Batman. The other one that had products in them was Batman Forever with the whole device, the yeah. But as Catwoman, I saw it once when I was when it came out. I was like 8 maybe. So
yeah, once was enough.
Yeah, I have not seen it since. In my studying for really trivia, I've had it on a watch list. I guess I'm gonna have to one day buckle down and just say screw it and watch it with Chris.
Gotta watch that basketball scene, brother. That's where the money's at.
And I know the baseball scene in Twilight is where the money's at.
No, the teeter-totter scene in Daredevil, that's where the money's at.
Okay, that baseball scene in Twilight is like the only good scene in an entire bad series, but
it's the epitome of cinema. I don't know what you're talking about.
I read all 4 books. I can talk as much shit as I want about it because I actually know.
We did a 12-hour charity stream. Had Winston Marshall on for Twilight.
It was long. At least for us, it felt longer than 12 hours. It was a long one.
I'll talk all day about Stephanie Meyer not being a good author. Like, you should have had me on.
I'm so glad we're talking about Twilight.
Yeah, they're good adaptations of a bad series. I'd venture that far with the movies.
No, and I'm glad we're talking about Twilight now because I mean it's inevitable before it's an inner geekdom, right? Like it just makes sense.
It's coming. I'm sure YA adaptations and the slice I have been advocating for maybe 2 years now is Disney animated musicals. You need to narrow it that much because there are so many Disney movies. Yes. But I know so many people who geek out over those Disney musicals, The Lion King and all of the princess movies and just anything with a soundtrack. And you name 3 words from any line of any song and they'll have it. And I just want that to come into Inner Geekdom and just screw with some guys. If we're going to be like completely real about this, it's not there because it's a girly category, right?
Who cares if it's girly? But actually, I have a question for you because, I mean, Christians hinted at the fact that The Mandalorian is going to get added to, and this is something we're actually going to talk about. Actually, by the time this airs, we might have already talked about it on Spin from the Real. Christian has hinted at The Mandalorian is going to be added to the Star Wars slice. So for IG, don't you think it's only fair that these upcoming Marvel TV shows get added to the MCU slice?
Yes, 100%. Like, honestly, the characters are literally going to be going back and forth between the movies and the TV shows. You got Miss Marvel in her own show and in Captain Marvel 2. You have Wanda and multiple other people will be showing up in Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange showing up in Spider-Man and so much like cross contamination that you'd almost have to, if you expect the question writers to be able to formulate things, because you can't ask about Miss Marvel's backstory because that's all a Disney Plus show. But you can ask a Miss Marvel question in Captain Marvel 2. It's gonna get like way too confusing. And I think you just said it as MCU. Those shows are MCU, despite not being cinema releases.
Yeah, and that's where I stand on it because I'm of the same opinion. If you're going to bring the Mandalorian into this, and that means eventually you're going to have to bring that Ahsoka show, Rangers of the New Republic,
Lando,
the Acolytes, all these shows that they just announced, you're going to have to bring those in at some point. Obi-Wan, thank you to Soda in the private chat. But yeah, if you're going to do these, and Christian always talks about, they're like mini movies. Okay, if you're going to do it for one TV show and you've already said it out loud that, yeah, we're going to put Mandalorian in the Star Wars. Okay, then this stuff over here, that's got to be added to MCU because that's going to, one, expand the amount of questions that you can have, and two, make these matches a hell of a lot more interesting.
No, I'm totally in that same camp where if Mando does pop up in Star Wars, then it only makes sense. If WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier, Loki, they all pop up in MCU. But the one category I will say, definitely 1,000%. I'm not even trying to joke with Twilight anymore. Like, what category should be in Inner Geekdom that's not already is video game movies.
I thought it was.
Was it?
Yeah, I believe it's a round 3 category, but it is technically a category.
But it should be
like, yeah.
If it I don't remember seeing a video game movie.
I've seen it on the wheel before.
But it's like I'm talking like throughout the match, bro. Like like this, it's not just like I know they're trying to stick to Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth, Star Wars, and Star Wars has its own divisions. I don't even want to get started on Star Wars. But video game movies should be in the same realm of like it should be held in the same regard as a Marvel category, an MCU, DC, whatever the hell. Before we get to Disney, or before we get to anything else, because Disney you can't say is geeky as hell, like 1,000%. It just depends on what
it was the first nerd culture.
Really, yeah, truly. That at least that was in movies. So, but to go back to the match at hand with Chandru and to Chance, like Chance's first round was rough, and Chandru, if I'm not mistaken, did he miss one question?
2.
He missed 2. Okay.
8 to 5, which is what I was gonna say when you brought it up. Is 5 questions is not a strong Inner Geekdom showing,
not at all.
But 5 to 8 is a lot easier to swallow than 5 to 11.
Oh my God, yes.
Because honestly, a perfect round in IG is expected at this point.
Yes.
That, and so much so that almost every IG match of this year went 11 to 9. One guy went perfect, the other guy didn't go perfect. The guy who went perfect in round 1 usually won the match. There was occasionally a round 2 slip up because there are a lot of points available in that round too. IG is like actually, well, Star Wars 2, I think, but it's the only division with Star Wars that each round actually has the same amount of points available in it, other than a betting round and the old speed round, because now there's 10 points in that one in the lightning round. But it's 10 in round 1, 10 in round 2, 10 in round 3, which is one of the reasons I love the division so much.
No, like and with this one, right? Like with Chance and with Chandru, like you said, like 8 to 5 is easier to swallow than 11 to 5, but still those 3 points, because that you have to depend on your opponent to have a all right or bad wheel spin. And then the rest of the match, honestly, at this point in Inner Geekdom, you're gonna rule a speed round in round 4. You're gonna rule whatever the hell your 3 round or round 3 question is, and then round 5's up in the air. But still, like
I have some thoughts.
Crucial. Please.
The speed round, and we need to see a real one. We need Chandru with a buzzer on his table, trying to actually beat his opponent to the hit and the answer, because we have definitely seen Chandru rush too quickly to an answer and get it wrong because of that. He knows so much about the products that he does have those slip-ups, and he adds too much information or is thinking the wrong context and adds something wrong. And I could see this being a real big detriment to him.
Well, the issue with that is that Christian has gone on record saying how much a lot of the competitors love the new round 4, and that the favorite will have an opportunity to decide what speed round they use. So I think Chandru for that reason you just stated, would be the kind of guy who'll just continuously go like, no, we're going to do the lightning round.
Yeah. Give me the lightning round. Give me 10 questions, 6 seconds each. Like, it's very manageable, but even that one, I think if we see him play a couple of them, you might get. This is all also shit from last season, right? I'm talking about his prior stats, and this is a very new Chandru that we've seen this season. But even then, I mean, he loses that match against Smets, and then I believe until they played each other again, neither of them missed a question. So they did some crazy things, the two of them, in this division. To know that much about all of the categories is honestly insane. But I will point out that he didn't put spinners and opponents on the wheel. Who knows what Chandru considers his weakness, but he did not want Chance making him pick it. There are a number of mixed bag categories, which could be just why an IG champion won't put those spinners opponents on the wheel. But that's another thing I loved about Paulo Yama, was put him up there. If you're the best who's ever played the game, you should be able to spin opponent's choice and win a championship.
Damn right.
I agree with that completely. I mean, in our fan league, I hit opponent's choice in one of our big matches. I still somehow pulled it out. It's matches and instances like that separate the men from the boys. Because ultimately, if you're not hitting those questions, even if it's a weakness, you've now basically put a target on your back, and now people know to target that for you.
And at the same time, I will actually play devil's advocate for this. It's actually a very smart play to not put spinners and opponents. Yeah, like you want to win just in case you pull opponents and you can flex on everybody. But at the same time, you don't want to expose yourself. Like, why? If I had the option to not expose myself, not have someone exploit my weaknesses, I'm gonna take that 10 out of 10, 1,000% of the time. Like, it's not even it's not even a question to me. But that's it. That's my POV. I mean, obviously, y'all obviously have different POVs than me. So I didn't even mind changing, not even putting spinners or opponents, because honestly, why would you? If you like, that's one slice benefits you, one slice benefits your opponent.
The math, really. You got to pick 2 slices, and the spinners. That's 3 out of 12 slices are your strengths. Yep. The wheel makers may have put strengths on there that they don't know about, but they're your strengths as well. That just, it adds even more to the field. And then even on the downside of spinning opponents, in IG, you're expected to know every category, so that's not too much of a problem. But also, your opponent doesn't necessarily know your specific weaknesses. If they've done their homework, they can, but then that is 1 bad slice or 2 bad slices, because you add the opponents to it, versus the 4 good ones, and the percentage chance of getting the right thing. I worry more about the betting question than the wheel round itself. Because if you land, especially if you go up there and you spin it yourself, and it lands on opponents, and now your opponent gets to bet 3 on a category they know they're good in. And that can be a very big hill to climb.
And that's another thing. Like, I'm glad you brought it up, because in the normal world, some people are spinning themselves, but this digital wheel, and sometimes it's a little heavy on certain categories. But if that opponent is on the wheel, and you spin opponent's choice, like that's your loss because you put it on there. Yeah. So like that's another reason why, like, when we saw the wheel and Change You opted not to put spinners and opponents, I'm like, all right, like I didn't even mind it, because that's a great strategy, especially in the 5-round match. So I'm not even going to diss him for that. But with a guy like Chandru, and like you said, you have to go back and do your homework and find what he's not the greatest at. And honestly, in between now and then, he probably studied up to hell on it. So is my man does he even have a weakness? But I don't even know where to begin to unpackage Chandru and try to find something that he lacks in. Because that first round, yeah, he missed a couple, but and especially that speed round, he knows what's up. He definitely gets it. Now, taking him to the late game five round questions, that's where things get interesting. Granted, he only had to answer one in this match, but if someone took him to the brim, and we don't know when that will be, because the last 2 showings he's had have been pretty dominant against Chance and Smets. So I'm curious to see Chandru's future in the league, because I told Matt this not too long ago. Like, Chandru, by the end of this year, by the end of season 8, he could be regarded as the best Intergeekdom player ever. He can be. Not saying he will, but he easily can. Like, as of right now, he's put on some great performances against guys like Kevin Spence and Chance Ellison, and it looks like he just had a kick-ass thought, and I want to hear it.
Oh, that reminds me. Like, Chance has had a very good string of hitting those 5-point questions too, and if he hit that question, Chandru hits his 5, or he loses the Intergeekdom belt. Like, I mean, there could have been a sudden death, but it's back to round 1, and it's a whole mixed bag for everyone at that point. It was, despite being a 5-point difference in most of the game, it was as close as a 5-point difference comes in the Schmoedown.
Yeah,
and
Chance, if he makes his 5, then
it's a different game.
It's up to change him. And that's where, like what y'all were saying, how he has to prove himself, that's where that comes in. Like, answer your 3, answer your 5, win the game. Like, if you're that good, win it right now. Get them 8 points and you win. But sometimes it's not up to that.
The point that you made me think of, though, is one that I thought of when we were covering last time and doing the teams match. And you were talking about this Chandru potentially becoming the best Intergeekdom player ever, right?
Could be.
Best and greatest, right? I do think of these qualities in different instances, because Dan Murrell is the greatest of all time, but I did argue quite recently that at the end of the day, we're going to look at, I was arguing at the time, Adam Collins hadn't started his run yet, so I was arguing Chance Ellison could be the best player of all time. His accuracy is like the high end of 85 to into the low 90s, depending on like what period you're looking at, what division you're looking at.
So I actually have a stats right here.
The insane like level of knowledge that you need to be that triple league threat, and a threat for years to come. Yeah. And he's got a lot of years on Dan Murrell. I will just give him that as a benefit. He can play for a while.
So
what's the stats? Yeah.
So for singles, his percentage is 83.78. For teams,
it was like 85 something when I was arguing it, but yeah.
That's good.
For teams, it's a dead even 85, and for Intergeekdom, it's 85.19.
And would you happen to pull up Dan Murrell's stats in those two categories?
Yeah, I just got to scroll
singles
down.
And teams.
Yeah,
I believe he's right around that 83, maybe 84 mark in singles, and in teams, I believe he's a bit lower.
Murrell is at 81.99. So you can, for singles, yeah. So that you can basically round that up to 82 because that's a 0.1 percentage.
Sure.
And then for teams is at 85.22.
Okay.
So yeah, he's got the
Floating around
point,
chance, yeah.
the percentage point and a half on Dan in singles, and even though he's had less wins, obviously,
Yeah.
everyone has less singles wins than Dan Murrell, right? He only
Yeah.
plays championship matches, for Christ's sake.
Mhm.
But yeah, I have honestly and fully believed that Chance could become the best player, because we watched him walk into the Inner Geekdom tournament not even really expecting to win, and he sure as hell wasn't expected to win. And he took out a absolute no shot in Paulo Yama. He took out an absolute no shot for him in Parker. He had to go through some of the most insane competition the league has, and that tournament definitely. He had the hardest road to go and try and get to that belt. And I think if the championship match happens right after the tournament, he does a lot better.
That's what you just said is actually a great question, because I like that conversation's always had in sports, right? It's like who's the greatest and who's the best, because those are definitely two different conversations. Like it's not always like you can't use the same criteria for both. And you said you were talking about singles, so you said greatest Dan, best could be best Chance, right? And for Inner Geekdom, like what would you say right now? Like best Chandru, he's the champ. Like I mean,
Chandru or Smets?
or Smets, yeah. But greatest,
Rachel
that's
Cushing.
like Rachel Cushing,
Mhm.
Mike Kalinowski. Like once you think big
See,
picture,
for me, the greatest will always be who has this larger impact outside of gameplay, and that's why Cushing for Inner Geekdom would be the greatest for me.
can you elaborate on that? I'm curious. Like outside of gameplay, because you
See,
said
yes, let me add one thing first. I do think that it's hard to evaluate Cushing and Kalinowski because that I argued this recently, that Smets would have made IG like Star Wars. If Smets had come in and made that killer accuracy, it would have been him sitting there with the title defense after defense until the competition catches up. But you had Rachel and Mike, who are such good friends in real life and such fierce competitors inside that arena, that they dragged everyone forward with them. And it's hard to really differentiate one from the other, because you can't really have Superman without Zod or Batman without the Joker.
Touche, yeah. Like, but in regards to like just not in matches, but Matt, I wanted like just to hear that POV, because I mean,
outside.
I'm curious.
Well,
why I believe that.
Well, when I say outside of gameplay, I'm talking about the impact they have on the fandom, the community itself. Because think about it.
Yeah.
A lot of people, LeBron fans like me, will argue against Jordan fans and look at the impact that LeBron has made on the community.
Sure.
Compared to what Jordan's does, where LeBron has built a school, starting to build housing, things like that.
Yep.
Jordan did for-profit prisons.
He also says, fuck them kids.
Yeah, he said, fuck them kids. He said, Republicans buy sneakers too.
Okay, let's cool it. But I get your drift.
But that's what I mean by and think, we had Rachel Cushing win, and Christian Harloff's daughter was just so impacted that she brought her on screen with her.
Yeah. And I'm totally not disagreeing with you. Like Rachel, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Rachel the first woman to hold the championship belt in the Schmoedown?
Yes, I believe so.
If I'm not mistaken. So I can't think of anyone before her. I'm thinking of a lot of people around her, like Clark and Rachel obviously won the team's belts. Mara won the
Did her belt. IG belt come before her team's belt? That's what I'm trying to remember.
She was dual belted.
She was dual belted, but I can't remember which one came first.
It was actually Mara Knopic.
And then it was Rachel?
I think Mara might have won off of Inmin.
No, Mara won off of.
Yeah.
Mara did win off of him, man.
Yeah. Okay, but to go back to what I was talking about, like Rachel's impact was greater than in her geekdom. And so I think
Yeah, it was teams and singles and
like Rachel, she was also a triple division threat. You could not tread lightly with Rachel Cushing, and I mean with Mike, you can also make an argument into like not just the like impact, but impact on the game itself and the character he presented. I do say the greatest is Rachel Cushing. We can all agree on that. And Chanju would be the best right now. But going forward, holy hell! Like we don't know what Chanju's capable of. Rachel does have the upside, or has the she has the higher ground because she was in studio, and that was when the Schmoedown was really finding its voice. And now the Schmoedown's already found its voice, so it's already established, and Chanju came into an established thing. Rachel is helping the Schmoedown grow exponentially with what she was doing, team singles, inner geekdom, whatever it is. So that's where Rachel has the edge. She will have the edge for a long time until someone comes and dethrones that or has a greater impact on the Schmoedown as a whole. Chandru can do that. He can change the way inner geekdom's played, like how Rachel did, like how Mike did, like how Smets did when he showed up. Right? Chandru has the same potential, but will we see that this year in season 8? Who knows? It may be season 9, season 10. Chandru will be around for a while. He's in it for the long haul, my guess.
Yeah. So last question before we wrap up here. This is another long episode, but we haven't had any like lulls, or we haven't like moved too far from the conversation. So you can't really fault us. We've been doing good, but who do we want to see Chandru play? And I do have an answer if you guys aren't specifically ready.
For me, it's going to be Mara. That's I know. Here's the thing. I wish she wasn't playing her right away. I know Chris and I talked about this earlier, actually, to where we wish she'd have a chance to get a couple matches under her belt first to get back into the groove of things, because she's got that automatic title shot, and I feel like
February, baby, February.
Yeah. And I get that that's opening the season, but to me, I just feel as if you're better off letting her use that when she chooses to. Just like you do in that free for all when it has a title shot.
Sure. My dream match, but it will require a little bit of a character change for the person involved, because he came off a little hot and a little kind of mean this season. I think the greatest Chandru opponent will be Robert Parker.
Oh, okay.
Let him climb up that mountaintop, and especially we need the spider. We need a quippy, plucky hero to all rally behind. And this is me saying that. I'm a corruption shill. I literally breathe evil all day when I'm watching this show. But I do want to see someone rise up and just like Parker was the golden child. He was supposed to win this tournament and beat Chandru. He didn't get to because he ran into Chance Ellison.
That's the key word, supposed to. He had so much weight on his shoulders because not only of where he was drafted, because Kaiser really bet on Robert Parker, but he also like he had
how Christian anointed him.
Yeah, Christian anointed him, and it's like, yo, Robert Parker's the future. Like, let me see this. And he beat Ace, and it's like, oh, okay, like he beat Ace. All right, bet. And then he went to Inner Geekdom, and we saw it happen with Chance, a guy who was in a tournament just because. So wow, like Robert Parker will have to do a complete 180. My man has to compete it since what, June? May?
Yeah, but again,
June or July, yeah.
June or July?
Well,
so,
look,
I mean, I get your POV.
realistically, it's actually probably June because those matches were pre-recorded, so.
Yeah, and I totally get your POV, Daniel. Like, I think Robert Parker has to bounce back next year. He has to.
He has to become back player of the year next year. That's his goal.
Yeah.
Because
that would be disappointing almost. Like,
because think about
it's not like he played a bad match against Chance.
I'm not saying he is, but because I'm saying calling him comeback player of the year because he got 2 matches in. 3 matches in. That's it. That's it. You were anointed this next great player. You were said to be the chosen one to beat Chandru, the chosen one himself, as his nickname is, and you got nowhere near close.
Yeah. I mean, if in a regular season, I think he does get a lot closer because he gets some regulation studio matches and doesn't get thrown into a tournament in his second match.
Sure.
But like, again, you see in his play itself, it's just law of large numbers says this kid will be champion one day, right? And he knows so much. But to be fair, the most impressive thing he did all season was leap from the floor to onto a stage to cut a promo.
Okay.
Because that was awesome.
I know. I know you said we're going.
You got an answer, Chris?
Yeah. But I mean, like you said, Daniel, we're some pretty corrupt boys over here, with the exception of Matt. But I do think I don't know which one yet, but it'll probably be. I'm gonna say Mike Kalinowski. He seems like the next logical step. You beat Smets, you beat Chance. Mike's right there. Mike, who had a war with Kevin Smets, who is the teammate of Chance Ellison, and Mike, he was runner-up in that Inner Geekdom tournament. So Mike seems like the next logical step. It won't happen until after Mara, so we will see what happens with the Mara match. Like what Matt said, I do wish Mara had a match or 2 under her belt. But at the same time, she's studying with the greatest of all time. So I will definitely be in Mara's corner because just like everyone, I'm not in Chandru's corner. I love his heel work. Though. I love it.
If I'm not mistaken, her photographic memory is actually real. Like I believe that's an actual thing that helped her become a nuclear scientist. Is the fact that she just learns things that she reads or watches and she doesn't drop them. So it's interesting to see if 2 years off actually makes her come back even stronger. You know, actually, Kevin Smets had a very terrible first interview when he tried to audition for the Schmoedown. And then he took a year and a half, and he actually mentions that he wasn't even doing that well in scoring, but he took that year and he found like a training regiment and he found out about like fight form and everything. I love listening to Kevin Smets talk about IG study because he convinced me that I could do it, kind of.
Yeah.
And just like all of the tips and tricks that he uses on top of, I mean, you just need that kind of general sense for learning trivial bullshit about things. But I do that.
So, fun fact, Mark Knopik's accuracy percentage is only 67.67.
But Inner Geekdom was different at the time. It's not what it is now.
It was. I look at Mara's accuracy and I do kind of like take a step back. But she was also running up and going toe-to-toe with the likes of Rachel Cushing and Mike Kalinowski. So it's kind of against the field. Look at the Patriots' accuracy. They're both in the 60s.
Excuse me.
They, I will, that Mara match is going to be first with changes, so we'll see how that goes. But after that, it's up in the air. My guess is Kalinowski, regardless of who wins. Whether it's Chandru or Mara, and the story's gonna be great either way. But I'm ready for Inner Geekdom to adapt to Chandru down the Pani, 1,000%, as they should, and they need to for the better of themselves and for the better of Inner Geekdom's quality matches going forward. I don't want to see Chandru stomp everyone. I don't. And I don't think people will let themselves get stomped by Chandru. So the future Winter Geekdom's in question.
So we're going to wrap up in a second here. I just want to mention once more that, like, sorry, these episodes were, like, our segments were very long. This is the first time I've really, like, got to sit down and talk to both of these guys on, like, a very deep level about the show. Yeah. We were given hot takes and quick kind of quips about Spectacular on the tailgate. And speaking of, the follow-up segment to this one will be Soda sitting down with Let's Get Ready's Justin Hamilton to cover the Flirtenflaus versus Kevin Smith. And we all remember how fun that match was. I just want to tell you, you guys are in for a treat. And to end that, if you guys could head down and like this video, maybe throw a comment in, that also helps the algorithm. I was explained that the bell does also help the algorithm, so maybe try and hit that if you can. And just head on over to our pages on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter at Northern Schmo. You can find me on Twitter at aventures_SLTN, and my friends can be found.
Spin from the Real Twitter.
Yes.
So it's literally just at Spin from the Reel, spelled REEL, like a film reel. And it has both of our personal Twitters up in the description, so you can check us out there. The Who Are They ? Real Entertainment, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. You can find us all on there. And just remember, Real spelled REEL. So,
if you want to find Spin from the Reel on YouTube directly, just look up Spin from the Reel 2 E's Schmoedown, and you'll find our videos. So if you want just that directly, but we recommend subscribing to our channel. There's a bunch of other great content as well.
Our fan league is there. If you're interested in joining that, just hit us up, whether it be a message through the Facebook, through one of the many accounts, whether it's my personal, the Spin from the Reel one, or the Who Are They Real Entertainment Twitter account, or Chris even. So
hit me up.
That's a fan trivia league.
Yeah, we started a fan league this summer. So
see, I have a fan league too, but it's a fantasy league in which directly after the draft, we all jump in and we manage our own factions. We do our own snake draft. We followed along the entire season. All of the points in our league pretty much matched the points of the Schmoedown itself. I continued giving the loser point for championship matches. I added a couple of things at the end for belts that you have. And it's a lot of fun way to interact with a bunch of different people, throw some trash talk around, see if you can finagle trades and all that. Lots of fun.
From this channel competing in what we call RTS, Really Trivia Showdown, coming up. So keep an eye out for that.
All
right. We'll have to talk about that fantasy league. I'm curious. We'll chat.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for coming on and like filling in last minute for the teams match and even this one in general. But honestly, like after sitting down on the tailgate, I was just upset that I didn't get to talk with you guys for longer. My connection was not great. And yeah. It's been a blast, and I hope if they have to put these episodes out as standalone episodes week to week, ours will hold up very well. But as the end part and the start of a part 1 and part 2, they also make very good bookends. Thank you guys so much for coming on. And I will I will wish everybody a good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are, wherever you're watching. And until, well, not next season, because we're going to fill our off season with a bunch of stuff. But for now, I'm just going to send it over to Soda and Justin, who may be covering the celebrity match, or this may be the end of the video. I couldn't tell you. Have a good night now.
We're going to be talking about Kevin Smith versus the Flirtenflaus. Oof. Now this was a spectacle. Now, be honest, were you expecting an appearance by the Flouse?
I thought when I seen like I really thought they would possibly try to throw Brett Sheraton with Jericho.
Really?
That's where I thought it was going to go. I thought it was going to go Jericho against Brett. I thought that's what would happen. But they went different. They went, like I said in the past thing, is like I get why they went with Brittany Young, someone who plays a wrestler in a show, and the wrestler kind of made an interesting dynamic, right? Like it even made a cool promo.
Yeah, it did.
So then when I saw that, I was like, all right, cool. I get why Brett's playing Kevin Smith now, because like there you go. You got Brett against Smith. It's going to be a fun match, something you can laugh at. Now, I didn't automatically assume what was going to happen was going to happen. I just thought it was going to be, okay, Smith against Brett. Kind of, maybe toss him a little bit of Kevin, a little bit of a softball here because he's playing against a man who admits he don't watch all the movies and stuff like that. Now, I do say that I think Brett's trying to get serious. Like I do think he does need to spend more time at it. But I think Brett, if he spent enough time at it doing the studying and stuff, that he could actually pull something, right?
And he showed that this match. For me, it looked like he improved.
Yeah, exactly. Like even though in a loss, Brett did look like he was getting more serious at it. Like, and you could tell he was really trying to dig deep for those answers. So, never know, man. We might see a slow improvement with him over time, and then like not only will he be a big character, he'll be one of the better ones in the actual the trivia spot of it. Like I'm going to tell you right now, beginning of the year before they stopped doing studio matches, when he won his first match and went 1-0, the excitement and joy that came across Brett's face was truly genuine. I needed to see that because it was right. We didn't really see it until right before or right there, and we knew COVID was coming. And it was like, man, needed to see that dude be happier than anybody. He looked happier than some kids on Christmas Day when he won that match. Like, so that made it amazing. And no, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how shocked you were, but I was kind of shocked whenever I did. As soon as his promo started for the match, I knew what was happening then. But I was surprised they went directly to that.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat as you. Like my friend Ben Rayner over on Mount Schmoedown has for like a month been telling me we're gonna get the Flouse. I'm like, there's no way on the biggest stage in the world against Kevin Smith they're gonna do it. And then lo and behold, they did. And I'm like, I was like, man, I mean, my hat, you were right. Like, oh my god. And I'm actually glad they did because this match was probably the funniest of the whole card.
Oh, definitely of the whole card. This might be the funny if you want to talk about entertainment as far as like being able to laugh and cut up, being able to have a match to relax in. This was definitely one of those matches to where you could sit back and go like, oh man, yeah, laugh, have a good time with your friends. Like I said earlier, it's one of those things like that they do in wrestling. You'll have all these serious things, but then there'll be one like where you'll have these characters that are outlandish or whatever that's involved in it that you watch for the entertainment purposes because it's funny.
Yeah,
and
the best
that's
comparison for this is I would hope to see Brett become the Santino Marella of the Schmoedown because that guy was entertaining when he was around, and Brett definitely has the chops.
Yeah, I mean, back in wrestling, they didn't have stuff like the Blue Meanie.
Yeah.
That dude wasn't winning no championship, but he was still entertaining to watch. The thing about it is like the only difference between like, say, a Sheraton character and say Guy is Guy's actually proved strokes of brilliance when it comes to trivia. Like he pulled out the Dan Merle win. He's beaten other people. He's done good in teams.
Right after that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and he's done good in teams, whereas Sheridan hasn't made it there yet. He hasn't shown that trivia knowledge, but he's got the character. Like that, and that's one of the gold tickets I think that some people don't recognize in this league is like when you are like Guy, he could lose 3-4 matches in a row and still get a live event match, just because of his character and his story. Because people's going to want to show up for it, and that's sort of what we got with the Flouse. Now I know not everyone likes the Flouse. But there's a huge contingent of people that love the Flouse. And no, I'm not gonna lie, it made me laugh multiple times. Like I was like, oh man, look at him doing the music that he's got and all that kind of good stuff right there. His mannerisms and way he acts is just like amazing. And he did a really good job working with Kevin Smith too.
Yeah, totally. Like I'm not gonna lie, I didn't want the Flouse, but I'm glad we got him. Like, it was definitely welcome. Now, on the other side of the coin, we had Kevin Smith, who the last game against Jericho, he pretty much played it pretty much straight and what have you. But this time we got the Kevin Smith we all know, the stoner Kevin Smith.
Mm-hmm.
How well do you think that worked for him? Like, obviously he won, but did he seem more at home, I guess, in the Schmoedown now compared to last time?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to get more and more comfortable with like the rules and stuff like that, because you can't really. It's a tough position, like I said, with the managers. It's a great thing because these managers have two players, both Jericho and Smith, that are these high pronoun, big time names, right? Like that we out there that we know all of them. We know the Home Dude directs movies. We know home guys from wrestling, and we love them, right? Like we're fans of their movies or we're fans of what they do in wrestling. But the tough part is like these two guys are also really super busy.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're a manager of these two guys, like when do you actually, how much time do you get to go over strategy? Do you get to go over like how the game actually works? Right? Do you get the time and opportunity to be able to like work with them heavy? I don't think so. I think maybe, maybe a day or two before the match, Smith might get up with Coy, and Coy's like, yeah, man, you've got to match 2 days from now. We're going to do that. Don't forget, like there's a couple of rules like the JTE rule and challenges and stuff. But you get told that one time, a couple of days, the match is doing it, and you're in the pressure of trying to answer questions right, and you forget about those little things. So I think Kevin, because of he's got 2 victories now under his belt, I think he's a little bit more relaxed. I think we're going to see more and more of him, and while he gets more and more comfortable, I also think as that comes around, his actual gameplay as far as knowing the rules better and stuff's going to come as well. And the guy knows stuff. The dude makes movies.
Yeah.
Like, he reminds me a little bit, I don't think he's at that level, but he reminds me a little bit of Ethan Irwin. Ethan Irwin helps make movies. True. Look how much knowledge that guy just knows on a natural basis. And I think Kevin Smith can be that type of player, but maybe not to that knowledge level.
No, probably not.
But because it's going to be tough. And we're talking about Ethan Irwin here. But the dude comes out with some answers. Now, you could try to say like his answers for both Jericho's matches and Smith matches, like they wasn't as hard. They didn't seem. Mm-hmm. But still, you got to know movies to still answer those questions that they were getting. So
yeah, like you just said, like they didn't seem hard, but you never know. Those could be a 5-pointer for somebody else, and they might get it wrong, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, exactly.
I don't know. You just put this thought in my head. I think an Ethan Irwin versus Kevin Smith match would actually be pretty fun. I know Smith would lose handily, but I think it would be a fun one to watch.
No, it would be. They're both in the movies. Like it would be kind of like the Brittany Young versus Jericho match because like you have someone. Like, I think, what does Irwin do most of the time? Like, help produce or help get things together?
I think he's writing Sherlock 3 right now, is what I've heard.
Yeah, so this guy actually puts stuff out in the movies behind the scenes, whereas Kevin Smith's more in the movies. Mm-hmm. He's more at the forefront. Like, I never heard of Ethan Irwin or really knew who he was until I watched the Schmoedown, where I know who Kevin Smith is. So, like, it is similarities with that as far as, like you said, with the Brittany Young and the Chris Jericho match. But I really liked it, man. I really liked everything that went on with this match, too. It was a fun match. No, it wasn't super competitive, no. But that's not what this is supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be about entertainment. And that's what I think. Like I said earlier, some people, I think, are confused because, like, a lot of people look at it as a straight sport. Mm. If you look at it as a straight sporting event, and that's it, then these 2 matches with these celebrities involved and stuff like that doesn't make that much sense. Because, unless you do an exhibition thing like Mike Tyson and Roy Jones did the other day, if you go and watch a UFC pay-per-view or you go watch the Super Bowl, they don't throw in like a team that's funny to play, right? Like they, are just somebody because they're famous to play.
Yeah.
You have to earn your spot into that or whatnot.
Yeah, because nobody wants to see the Harlem Globetrotters versus the '98 Bulls.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the thing. Like nobody wants to see that if you're like ordering those type of pay-per-views.
Yeah.
This thing's different though. This thing's for the entertainment and the sport. Like it's got those 2 things intermingled, this is why I stay. If this was only serious trivia all the time, eventually I would get bored. I don't get bored because I have things like Ben Bateman doing what he's doing, or Kevin Smith making his jokes and having fun and it being like a fun time or relaxing time. So Furtenflaus out there shaving his head to get ready to join like the thing, like those
Like
type
my
of things. Yeah, but those type of things keep me around because like it gives me enjoyment in other ways than just the one.
Yeah.
Right? It's multiple facets. The reason why you watch the Schmoedown. And so, like I said, like I agree. I love the match. I loved where it was at on the card.
Yeah, that's what I was
I
about to
loved
say.
watching
Like,
it.
do you think there was any other match that could have been put in that place that it was? The breather before the title match?
I mean, of course, you could have came up with some other people in the Schmoedown to do something like that, but I don't think they're going to or would have. I mean, you've got these two powerhouses. It's like I made a joke on one of our shows that Christian even made a comment about, like that when we had our big after show at LGR, I made a mention of, you can tell when Christian's doing the Jericho match and the Smith match that he's looking into the camera, watching these two cats do what they do. And you can tell like he's letting them go further than he would anyone else.
Yeah.
You know, like when you got Kaiser going on a little too long, or you got Finstock going on a little too long, he shuts them down quick, like, or warns them, or even like the competitors, if they're trying to say too much, he'll like kind of interrupt them and stuff, and like kind of be like, all right, cool, now we don't need to go on this dialogue here. But with them two guys, you can see that he lets them go on a little bit further, but that's the point, right? You have two of these superstars that's not even in your league superstars. They are superstars from outside of it that's willing to bring more in. And no, of course, I would do the exact same thing that Christian Harloff is doing and handling these two guys. There would be nothing that I would do different. Like maybe I would have made a different choice in, say, one of their competitions, or maybe I wouldn't have put them against each other first. Maybe I would have put them up against some like lower competition and let them build their way up and maybe win one or two matches and then put them up against each other. But that's just minor tweaks, right? But how he's handling the competitors, how he's handling these two stars, I think is perfect. It's like I said, Chris Jericho's having fun even in losses, which means he'll stick around. Imagine when Chris Jericho gets his first win.
Yeah, no kidding. Because I've heard he can be a very competitive guy, so it would be definitely interesting.
But I also think this is something that somebody like Chris Jericho and Kevin Smith can sit back and relax because they know this, right? Like because of the fact they don't take it as seriously, this is kind of maybe them relaxing and doing something they think's fun. Because even though making a movie seems fun to us because we don't get to do it every day, and even though wrestling may seem fun to us because we don't get to do it every day on TV like Chris Jericho does, we kind of get to sit back, or they get to sit back and relax doing something that's semi-competitive that's not their main job. But them jobs, though, are hard work for them.
Yeah.
And they do it all the time, so it may not be as fun as it would seem to us. Think about it. You're having to do something every day. Eventually, you're going to get tired of it, no matter what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're definitely not wrong. And honestly, I can't think of two better superstars, as you put it, to bring in who fit right in right away. Like, because Smith is basically one of us. He's a nerd that made good. Mm-hmm. And same with Jericho. Jericho is also a nerd that made good.
Yeah. No, I mean, I totally agree with that. They are perfect for the thing, and that's probably why they decided to do it first. I mean, I know if I was running this league, that I hope that they have a good time and go tell some of their other colleagues.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm doing this thing in the Schmoedown that's like fun and entertaining. It's movie trivia. Like, man, it's a blast. Like, and then somebody goes, well, you know what, man, maybe I could do that on the side, and maybe we can get even these other stars to start coming in and doing even more. Now, I don't want it to be an influx, like a huge amount of these stars, because we all love the stars that the Schmoedown's made. The difference between like Smith and someone and a star like Ben Bateman is now a star in this sphere, right? Like he's not a big, huge star as far as it comes, like in the world, but in our circle, in this thing called the Movie Trivia Schmoedown, he is a true star, and he was made by the Schmoedown, right?
Yeah,
because the Schmoedown gave him the avenue to be able to do that. Smith's coming in as an outsider. I love all the people that are coming through. I love all the rookies that are happening. I love Adam Collins and Jen Kemp and all these other guys that are coming in. So I don't want it to be too many superstars, but yeah, having 6, 7, maybe even 10 of these superstars that come in, or maybe even stars that can only come in and do like an exhibition style match.
That would be fun.
something like that would be fun to have. So, but yeah, these matches are fun. But I will say this: Kevin Smith, the one we're talking about now, he's on the precipice to where it starts to get a little bit more, competitive. And because now,
one more win, and he could be into potential contendership category territory.
Technically, yes. But like, oh man, like it's going to be interesting. Like Jericho, obviously, could be put up against anyone. Like he could face Brett next, right? Like that could be his next opponent, which would be fine because he's 0-2.
Yeah.
Now with an 0-2 record, Smith is going to be interesting about who they pick next.
Mm-hmm.
Like who's going to be the next competitor that Kevin Smith goes up against, because he's technically 2-0 now.
Yeah. Who would you put him up against?
I know.
I think Elizabeth Shannon Miller would be fun.
I don't think he needs to hit that yet.
Oh, you think she's still up like a?
I would go to someone that we know takes this game seriously.
Okay.
Their record's not as great, but we know that they try to improve. We know they try hard at it, and a couple of their matches they've done has been against great players. That's why their record's not super good.
So Janine.
Somebody like Janine.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about like a Rachel Silverstream.
Oh, that'd be a good. I think Rachel Silver. You'd have to like wait a little bit after she cleans up her pants and starts.
Yeah, no. Look, that's a dream match for her, and that'd be another. That's another aspect to it, though. Mm-hmm. That would be kind of cool. You have Kevin Smith going up against Rachel Silverstream. You definitely want to have Smith's, like, one of them's going to pick the Smith wheel to be on the wheel. And, like, for her to have her little, like, hand fan thing that she has that has his face on it behind her, and knowing that big fan, I think Kevin Smith would, like, play into that big time. So I think you would still get that entertainment value, and you're putting him up against someone that we know is true. We know they're serious about the trivia.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be pretty interesting.
That it would be a good one, and like you said, he would play into it because we saw what happened when Jericho got Kevin Smith as a category. Like it would be amped up more against Rachel. Yeah,
my thing is like you get him up to 3-0, and then when you pick that fourth competitor, like if he wins his third match in a row, his fourth competitor, you got to get someone at that upper B tier at the minimum. He can't keep playing people that are on the lower scale of the spectrum. He's eventually going to have to start stair-stepping it up to the higher levels.
Yeah, like a Rocky 3. You don't want to start feeding him just, easy victories, right?
No, exactly. I agree with that 100%. Yeah. Let's see what's up. But I do think overall, Smith and Jericho is going to happen. I think they're going to try to build that up as best as they can until they can actually do it live.
I can't think of a bigger thing to happen to the Schmoedown than Smith Jericho at a live event.
No, yeah, it wouldn't be. But I do think some of these people, like I said earlier, people that have the golden ticket. I think Brett with Subvert and Klaus. I think Guy, obviously, with his character, can get matches even in live events that most people couldn't because most people would be like, "Oh man, your record isn't looking too good. There's no sense in me putting you in a live event." But you can look at some of these characters. I think Brandon Hanna had it earlier in the year.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Brandon Hanna can pick it back up. The problem with Brandon Hanna is it's been so a long time. It's kind of like almost forgotten how good he was when he did his promotional material for the Saw match.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he could be one of those ones that also gets live events. Point being is Smith and Jericho, even if they're not playing each other, is going to be a live event if they can get it scheduled so they can be there.
Yeah, 100. I'm 100% in agreement with you. So thank you very much, Justin, for joining us on this show. It's actually been a very good pleasure to have you on. Where can everybody find you?
Oh yeah, man. Obviously on Let's Get Ready Network. We do multiple shows there. We not only talk about the Schmoedown on the Let's Get Ready Talk Schmoedown podcast. We also talk about Star Wars at the Holocron. We also talk about sports with Suge and Ferris yell at each other about sports on a thing called the Highlight Show.
It is funny to watch.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But like, we have those three things going on. We just newly put out a website. We got a website. We got stuff to where we have a bunch of different stuff on there. We talk about Schmoedown, but today Actually, it was the first day we put up a book review on the Holocron section of the Heir to the Empire, the first Tron trilogy book. I went in there and actually did like a review for it because I had just like reread that book. So we got anything from that. We're going to start putting sports stuff on there too. We got our rankings that we just started revealing for Let's Get Ready player rankings. So we're going to be switching that up a little bit. We kind of rushed the first one. The next one, we're going to clean up a little bit of the criteria and stuff and make that there. But if you want to, you can go see where we have people ranked on the website. But yeah, we got all that stuff going on, man. And every now and then you see me on the Gucci verse. And then I do shows like this every now and then.
Right on, man. Yeah, definitely be sure to check that out. The guys at Let's Get Ready they're all good people. Their content is some of the best you'll see in the Schmoedown world. So thank you very much, Justin, for joining us once again. And now to kick it on over to Daniel, Dave, Louie, and myself as we break down the title match. So take it away, Soda. Thank you very much, Soda. That was a great conversation with Justin Hamilton. Definitely look forward to seeing more of you in the future. All right, guys, what are we here for?
We're tired. All right. We got it, boys. The main event, the anticipated what the hell is going to happen match. Dan Murrell, Adams, the Coyote Collins. Okay, so before we start talking about our subjects, fast, I want to do a little turnaround. Soda, who did you had in your pockets to win?
You know, it's hard to go against Merle in a big match situation. It really is. Because I've never seen Collins before this year, so I didn't know how he would react to being in a big game. I mean, yeah, he showed it in the final, but I mean, this is a totally different beast. This is the WrestleMania of the Schmoedown. There is no bigger stage than this. And that's why I had to pick Merle, because he's been here before.
And what about you, Dave? Who'd you had?
Yeah, no, I feel I fall under the pretty similar thing where everyone is unstoppable until they're not. And this is the guy who has made so many people stop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Dan?
I mean, I gotta say I had Collins going into it. Not just because I'm the corruption guy. I gotta, really, I went and watched his other league matches just before his John Roca match, because I wasn't quite sold on, the play-in match. And when I went into that, looking at his play in those leagues compared to his play in this league, it's very much the same in that he scores incredibly well, and it was inevitable that he captures the title, if not this season, then next season or the one after that.
Yeah, I mean, I was sold. I was definitely sold on Collins. For me, again, Ida Tiger element a bit that really captivates me and makes me pick Adam Collins and Ace Cabrera. And the difference between Star Wars and him, Collins had in this match. But I had a presentiment that something's got to change for the singles division. And boy, did it change.
Yeah, and the way I can describe it is Collins is the Clubber Lang to Merle's Rocky. Very much so. He's the young up-and-comer who's hungry. Dan is the incumbent. He's been there a long time. This is a whole different beast now.
All right, so look, we did prepare subjects that, we do like to blab a lot, so we want to make sure that these guys, can watch it without falling asleep. So, Soda. All right, so let's start with you, Dan. You have some stats for us. Let's run it down. I want my growth of knowledge to grow even more. Go ahead, man.
All this talk of growth, I love it.
Yeah, let's just throw out some ones from this round. They're both perfect through round one. Adam misses only the 5-point question. Dan misses the 3 and 1 in the second round. The betting round, they change scores a little bit, but nothing truly changes, and they both go several questions into sudden death. What we learn is these guys can answer questions about any type of movie that you could ask them. And to see such incredible accuracy from a player in their first season and a player who has been here since season 3 or 2 actually, but I honestly only started watching in season 3 and had to go back and watch those years later. It's incredible how often Dan pushes his opponents to answer their final 3 questions and answer all of them in order to beat him. And it's truly incredible to see somebody miss an average of 1 question per match his entire way to a title. That only Sam Levine has won 7 matches in a row. If Adam Collins can defend this title, he has the most singles wins in a row.
He's Dan Murrell 2.0, the next generation. If he can pull that off, and it's not a fad, right? He can probably do something interesting.
I think
he's the Sidney Crosby to Merle's Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
I think everyone plays their best when they go into a situation with Dan. I think that's been apparent all season, just based on the caliber of player he's had to go up against. So I wasn't surprised to see this. Hearing though that what Daniel's talking about, an average of 1 question missed throughout the entire run, that's really, and being able to cap that off with a championship, that's something that I don't know if we can say we're seeing the next. I think we're seeing the first Adam Collins, because this is even though I fully expect that Dan to climb back up the mountain, I think Collins he's his own beast. I think it's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so based off that, do you think we'll ever see Dan Murrell as singles champ again?
I think so.
You think he's got one more in him?
I think one more. I think this man will be in contention until he chooses to walk away.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the rematch.
And we lost that again. Yeah. All right. But look, since we have a bit of downtime, let's get into the next subject and wait for Dan to come back in at the same time. So, Soda, you had a subject you want to talk about. Spill the beans, my friend.
Okay, well, this is basically based on the aftermath of the team title match, where essentially Roca just, ended the Founding Fathers, and Dagnino pretty much kicked Dan Murrell out of the Finstock Exchange. So it looks like it's going to be a Roca-Dagnino coup, I guess.
I got a question for you. If you can compare it to a storyline rebuilding, whatever, in wrestling, is there a wrestling moment or I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, okay. There's a recent one that I can go to. It's when Seth Rollins turned on the Shield and he joined the Authority, the heel power behind this the wrestling. That's basically the only thing I can compare to at the time, because sure, there probably is other instances, but this is the more recent one that I'm pretty sure most people will recognize. And
do you think the new faction is going to be a more heel face, or still the tweeners?
They're going, based on Roca's promo, they're going full heel, I'm all here for it. I'm happy to see Roca, the outlaw heel, back.
Yeah, and you can watch Soda's and I's live reaction, which maybe I will have posted by now, but we are both so excited about the prospect of that return.
I do want to say one thing, though. If you know anything about wrestling, Roca fucking telegraphed that turn.
Yeah, because
he's wearing the NWO shirt, and I'm like, come on, man, he's gonna Hogan us.
Yeah, but no, it definitely was. You see, I didn't believe Roca's selling it. Even my girlfriend's like he was kind of a bad actor there, and you would think, he, with this kind of moment, he would really shine.
Well,
but he only shined at the
cowboy end. Hat. He's wearing the NWO shirt, and you're like, oh, dude.
But see, I had no clue with that reference, so it didn't get me. Got you, but not me. No. But Dan, it felt real almost. Dan is actually a really good actor, because there's moments that you almost look like you wanted to cry. So it made me wonder: it must hurt for him to separate something that's been so long. What are your thoughts, Dan, about what happened, Roca and Dan?
Where this turn came from, because Dan has single-handedly carried the Finstock Exchange through this season, and I don't get why anybody would turn on him in his one defeat.
Well, here's the thing you got to realize, though. That's what heels do. Again, looking at it from a wrestling standpoint. Chicken shit heels always take credit for things they didn't do.
Hannah. All right.
Yeah, Brandon had, but I mean, like in terms of wrestling, when you split up a faction and one of the players turns heel, the other stays face, that's generally what happens. The heel always takes credit for, I was carrying your ass when you know damn well Shawn Michaels was the better of the Rockers, not Marty Jannetty.
If this match had gone another way, do you think we would have seen a different outcome, or do you think this was always the way we were going?
I think this was always the plan. I think if this is me, I think if Dan had won, Roka still would have turned heel, but this time would have said, "Fuck you, I'm coming for your title."
You see, if it would have been contrary, I think someone would have separated, but I think Roka would have left and Dan would have stayed.
I don't think Dan would have turned heel, though.
You don't have to turn heel. Like the faction, you can still do the good guys and have Dan and Finn stuck as the good guys. So basically, this match decided if they were going to be heel or not, right? That faction, depending on who you have on.
I'm glad that it went the way it did because I much prefer heel Dagnino and heel Roka.
That's going to be interesting.
I think that's the best thing for the Schmoedown.
All right, so look.
That's why I'm curious if there's two heel factions in the Schmoedown, because we know a single faction is not. No, I just meant is there, because we know there is not one faction big enough for both Ben Bateman and John Roca. So they're definitely going to land in different places.
100%.
And who takes on personalities like that other than Finstock?
Okay, quick thing before we move on to the next subject. Who do you see Dan Merle going with?
Liz Shannon Miller.
I meant for manager.
Anywhere where Liz Shannon
Miller. You think so?
Yep.
No. I think the two people leaving are Dan and Ben, and they're going to go together. And I think it's kind of crazy because teams are not going to be prioritized next year. So I don't think it's worth speculating as to what team they could be on. So it's not so much of that, but I think we see maybe going with Kate. She's rebuilding, probably needs it.
Yeah, but there's maybe. It's just I don't see the fit.
You don't see Dan going with Sam.
No, because I think
Sam, Ethan, Mara. 3 signings. You got Inner Geekdom and Singles covered, and a beautiful team if it ever opens up.
I think Mara stays with the Mercs. I think Sam, though, he's got Ethan, Janine, and Molly Damon, because Molly Damon has that #1 contender shot. I think he's going to hold her. So I think those are the 3 that he signs.
I hate what I'm going to say. I think it's Rockstars.
Really?
No. Roxy can't sign anybody.
But no, that's the thing.
She can.
With 3 champions.
Let me explain, Dave. With the way she managed Odd Couple, there's like instant in my brain, it's like that was a manager of the year move. Okay, trying to keeping them on focus and on par. She has an approach which Tom Danino did not. He had a lot of blabbing, but there's no like sound strategy sometimes with Danino. She's starting to show she can, and they need to rebuild in a sense that Andreyko and Snyder are good together. Separate, they're a bit weaker. So you need a dominant player. I find it works because they can be good or bad. They're a bit in between, but they have certain high standards, right?
But here's the thing, man. He's not going to fall to the draft, and Roxy is going to keep Alex Damon, the Odd Couple, and Alex Damon, maybe she drops for Jericho, but she's got those 4, and there's no way he falls to the draft. He's getting signed.
Okay.
So he can't go to Roxy. It's just the math doesn't add up, man. I love your idea, but I don't think it's possible.
But let's say you get proposed, like you want Dan Murrow or you want to keep Alex Damon. You think she's gonna automatically say fuck Alex Damon, fuck Dan Murrow, I'm keeping Alex Damon? Because if there's one person that you can think I can maybe take on and Alex Damon, all right, we reshuffle a bit the Star Wars, but I'm gonna accumulate as much points with Dan Murrow. It is still a strategy.
The only reason I can see her not taking Dan is because of her loyalty to those guys.
Not only that, but Lou, we just talked about at the beginning of this show, we talked about how Alex Damon is probably never going to lose that Star Wars title, and he's a top 4 contender in Inner Geekdom. He, and I hate to say this, is the more valuable player just on the numbers alone.
Yeah, but at the same time, he has to still continue performing in IG and hope there's not like new rookies that like, you know, the revival of Parker, right? And next, you know, he's destroying everyone because he's mad or rage. There's so many factors in that your main staple is one thing, and you hope you can rack enough points to actually make a difference to go in top 3. Whereas Dan, he's still got a lot of fight left, and he could be used in such a way that you just like guaranteed not top 3, first or second.
You cannot throw away the longest running champion and the most dominant player. You just can't throw that away.
But people couldn't be mad at it. They would understand why there's a swap if you have that kind of opportunity.
I don't know, man.
All right, but you know what? Enough about that.
I would never even consider that when there are like I would consider Mark Andreyko before Alex Damon, because like,
even though they're the team champs, really?
You can drop Andreyko into the draft if people are going to break up the team's champs. Like, you could move up if you're Roxy, etc. Like,
here's the thing though. Wow. It's not worth considering because Christian also has said that the only thing that has to happen is the team's champions have to be signed together.
Yeah.
True.
So you can't even drop. You can't even drop Draco.
All right. Well, let's go to the next subject and the last subject for tonight. The worth of Adam Collins, because now this is interesting. Adam Collins seems to be really wanting to continue teams with Marisol. He is a very high commodity now. He just went from he's good. You know, we might drop him to like, how are we gonna drop him if So now she has a choice. Is he worth, if ever she has to drop either like Chance or Kanowski? Is there a way to keep Marisol McKee and Collins, or she might actually lose him?
Yeah, she did. She threatened everybody.
Yeah, but you might open a door because, especially with the whole Wildberries thing, that is going to bite her in the butt. I said it before. It is even more evident now. Someone's going to try and make a move just to piss her off.
I think we all talked about it, and I just had a long time to talk, so I'll let someone else talk. But I think it's easy to pick up someone like Marisol because in the first round, everyone has the 4th person they wanted who they couldn't sign. Everyone has that. And with her going last because she won the faction championship, she'll get to go, and it's a snake draft, so she'll get to go 8th and 9th. I think it's easy to keep both Marisol and Laura for her.
Yeah.
But I just had a long rant about Alex Damon over there.
I do disagree. I do disagree just because there is one person in her way that could take Marisol, and it would cause a slight shakeup. But Roxy's number 4, I would estimate to be Stacey Howard. And you could pick up Marisol and argue that that's an improvement, and also piss Shannon off at the same time.
And if everybody would,
Shannon doesn't revenge pick Stacey, and if Shannon doesn't immediately pick Stacey because of that, then it would be foolhardy, but also like Roxy can scoop her up a couple picks later.
I think if Shannon does that, revenge picks Jericho.
Oh,
True.
Oh,
Yeah, but if she does
oh.
that, Jericho, I don't think he's gonna play.
Well, but here's the thing: Christian might force a trade. It's like we're gonna make Jericho play, and it's like she's not playing. He's not playing for me. Roxy wants him. I want the farm.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of ways this can go. All right, but look, let's close it out very soon. Before we do, we talked a lot about Spectacular. I want to go maybe 30 seconds max each. Dave, what was your number one standout moment of the whole Spectacular?
Oh my goodness. It was, I can't actually. This was honestly just incredibly incredible thing all around, and I don't know that I can pick one moment. Probably, the realization that Alex Salmon's never going to lose the Star Wars belt ever is probably up there for me. But it was a great event.
There's two instances where he could lose it, either Dave Filoni or Sam Witwer play.
Yeah, that's what we just said to me. And now that being said, Soda, what is your number one pick moment?
For me, it is the end of the team's title match. It was not the best match based on how it ended, but it was the realness, the emotion, the respect, and the love that was shown between all of those competitors after that match. So that for me is my big moment. And also, this is definitely, you cannot take Snyder away from the Mount Rushmore conversation ever again after this.
Yeah, seriously. And what about you now? What's your number one moment?
I can't believe I'm gonna say this. Actually, it was it was Chandru hacking into Chance's Zoom meetup, and like the storyline that was put there, where he gets to dance around and he sings a little song about no belts for Chance, and it ended up coming true by the end of the match. And even though that was the worst moment of the Spectacular for me, it was also the best because it just made me the most emotional.
and me, it's when I realized, holy shit, we're going sudden death. That moment of realization that, like, okay, again, Murrow is the champion. Like, if you're going against Murrow, he's going to bring you to sudden death. No, he's going to find a way. The universe wants him sudden death. You better practice your sudden death. If not, you're going to lose. It's that realization that he did so much, so many times in so many aspects, including sudden death, that he is the Schmoedown.
Yeah. Now you see, when it hit that mark, I was like, "Oh man, my ass is so sore from sitting here all day." It's no joke. I clocked it. That is long. What the Spectacular, the live stream was longer than any WrestleMania from the last I don't know, 7 years.
9 hours and 21 minutes.
Yeah. I never thought I'd see anything beat WrestleMania, and lo and behold.
But so worth it. Definitely worth it.
Yeah, the stream went by. Honestly, the 9 hours went by fast.
All right, yeah, it definitely did. And something that I cannot wait soon to do is draft talk. We're not going to talk about it right now, but we are definitely working on stuff, on theories, on possible stuff that can happen next year. Stay tuned for next time. So this is why it's important, ladies and gentlemen, to subscribe to this show to not miss our draft picks, okay? That being said, my boys, where can we find you?
Who wants to go first?
Soda.
Okay, so you can find me all over Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxman. You can find me here also on Schmoedown 9 in Canada and also Northern Consultations with either any of these knuckleheads. You can also find me over at Media Sweaty's network, hosting Get Sweaty on Sundays, where we just do a top 5 and whatever, and also co-hosting with my friend Ben Rayner, recapping the past, where we just review shows from our youth, and Shooting the Breeze, which is just where we sit down with our friends from the internet and we just have fun for about an hour. We've had Lou on, we've had Dave on, and coming up soon we're gonna have Daniel on around Christmas time.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a fun time.
And you, Dan, where can you find you? The delays again. Oh no, he's like,
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Avengers_SOTN. That's Shmoes of the North, and also over at our Facebook page, because I should be starting up season 2 of the fantasy leagues as soon as I send out like the final results of the first one. I'll be getting right into inviting everybody, adding more people to all the leagues, and doing a draft as soon as the other draft happens. So stay tuned for that.
Dave.
You know what? You can find me right here at Schmoedown North. Sometimes you can find me over at Jack of All Trivia, hosting different trivia-themed matches of different franchises. Rumor has it a holiday-themed one may be coming up very soon. But what I really want to plug is we just did, if you have any more time on your hands after you've watched this entire long thing that we've just done, you've got time to watch another long thing. We did a really cool thing over at Schmoedown North where we put your favorite Schmoedown competitors into a simulated season of Survivor. It was a great, great time. We had a lot of ups, a lot of downs. Villains who you never thought were villains emerged. It's a great time. Go check it out.
Yes, sir. And for my part, you can find me on Northern Schmoes on Twitter, but also you can find me on, anything to do with Schmoes on the North and audio side. We got the Frenchie Talks About and the Frenchie Watches. And also brand new, I started last week. I'm helping out my man Jay Wade with his new JCast network. Let's talk about Schmoedown. There's the Frenchie's Corner where I pop 10 minutes per episode where me and Jay Wade just don't agree on anything and choose two subjects and argue till the end of the day. So that being said, thank you very much for listening to this, and bonsoir.
Salut.
French.